Greetings, I am the Golden Alien 13. Back with another video, and today we're going to be reacting. This video has been requested by my friend Megalon. This one is called NASCAR. NASCAR and the Art of Revenge. I don't know what this is about. I might have to do parts of this because I don't trust my phone. So the episode came out. Anyway, so let's just get this video started real quick. So maybe we'll have to stop at 16 or 17, I think. So let's get this video started in 3, 2, 1, play.
Use your signal, you cow!
You cow.
It's easy to lose your temper. Sometimes we encounter other drivers.
What the heck, SpongeBob?
They make us question who decided to give them a license. Driving this poorly should be a crime. Sometimes it is, and the problem elegantly solves itself. But most of the time, the idiot just gets away scot-free. Not content with the unfairness of it all, a few of us will try to take justice into our own hands, often with less than fortunate results.
Oh yeah, those are idiots in the road. My mom would get mad at them for not paying attention.
Motorsports feature the most talented drivers in the world, but they still succumb to the same emotions as the rest of us.
He's went donk on that car.
Runs very thin. Auto racing provides a unique opportunity for drivers to destroy each other's vehicles without any legal or financial repercussions. In series like NASCAR, the cars are durable enough to dish out some serious punishment without jeopardizing themselves. Most racing accidents are just that, accidents. But in NASCAR, a few wrecks are not just intentional, but premeditated. On track, the best drivers are just as skilled at retaliation as they are at racing. Revenge in NASCAR comes in many forms, some more elegant than others.
Jeez.
Stock car racing is learn how to wreck someone without wrecking yourself.
The most proficient retaliators are discreet enough to make you think twice over whether or not it was even on purpose. But by far the most entertaining revenge is the opposite of discreet. In this video,
well, that reminds me of Cars, where Lightning McQueen flied and he crashed. That was from 3, I think.
Our first tale comes from the winding turns of Sonoma, California, one of the few road courses on the NASCAR schedule.
Wait, why am I saying geez? I've never heard of that state before. In the city.
Ever get to do, turn right.
And they'll turn in a separate time.
A tight hairpin that forces drivers to decelerate from 120 to 40 miles per hour in just a few seconds. In one race, two drivers are about to get very familiar with turn 11 and each other. It's lap 37 of the 2011 Toyota Safe Mart 350. Tony Stewart has a fast car, but he's stuck back in traffic. Tony's getting a bit frustrated with Brian Vickers, who refuses...
Also, I heard about what Tony Stewart did to somebody. My friend Megalon explained it in the live stream. He said that he hit somebody and was a fan, cause I don't know what he did, and then Tony Stewart has his own racetrack. I think that's what I've heard. And people are don't want to get near to Tony Stewart. I don't know who Brian Vickers is.
Up his position. By the time they reach turn 11, Tony has had enough and dumps him. Oh, he locked it up!
Jeez.
During this time, Tony Stewart is one of the most formidable and aggressive drivers in the sport. If you raced him the wrong way, he would not hesitate to take you out of contention. Over the years, dozens of drivers have fallen prey to Stewart's retaliation, and for a moment, Vickers looked to be yet another victim. The race continues and Tony works his way through the pack. By lap 85, he's cruising to a top 5 finish when the broadcast cuts to commercial. When they come back, Tony Stewart has been sent to the Shadow Realm.
Really, dude? GTA 5.
Brian Vickers more than 50 laps to get back to Stewart, and when he did, He sure made the most of it. Vickers hooked Tony at the precise speed and angle to strand him on the tire barrier, knocking him out of the
Okay, let me
race
tell you this.
entirely.
I might not be a big. I'm not a big fan of
But one that would
NASCAR that
ultimately
much, but
consequential in the grand scheme
I
of
know
things.
Megalon likes to talk about
Vickers
it a
may have won
lot.
the battle that day, but it wouldn't stop Tony Stewart from eventually winning his third and final Cup championship that
That's
season.
an awesome cup
At
right
the
there.
very
Have
least,
to be
though, Tony
honest.
didn't wreck anyone else for a while after this.
Revenge.
They say that revenge is a dish best served cold, and in NASCAR, some drivers prefer to bide their time before dishing out their payback.
Jimmy Johnson gets turned right in the front of Mark Martin.
And he's not waiting to get in the ambulance, I don't think.
I think he's waiting to wave to his favorite driver right now.
In the 2000s,
What?
Robbie Gordon was possibly the only NASCAR driver more aggressive than Tony Stewart. Robbie was the racing embodiment of chaos. His decisions on the racetrack seemed to be governed entirely by impulse. He would do things on the track that seemed completely pointless to anyone else but him.
This is
Wow.
what drives me crazy. Robbie Gordon is worried about a lap car, and he lets Tony Stewart take the lead.
These loose cannon antics made him one of the most entertaining drivers to watch. He was the driver to boldly go where no other driver had gone before.
Robbie Gordon, California kid, is going to win the Dodge Safeheart 350.
Robbie Gordon was most well known as one of NASCAR's best road course racers, but his most bombastic moments would come at the Magic Mile in New Hampshire. In 2001, Robbie would infamously score his
New
first
Hampshire?
ever
Where's
NASCAR
that?
victory
Where's
there,
that at?
with
New West
Jeff Gordon
Virginia?
out of the way. In the 2004 race, he would get spun by Greg Biffle.
I'm born in
then
that
coming
year.
back down like a heat-seeking missile, taking out two other championship contenders in the process. But believe it or not, this wasn't even the best example of Robbie getting revenge at New Hampshire. So based on what we've seen so far, it's generally a bad idea to piss off Robbie Gordon on the racetrack. In the 2005 Sylvania 300, Michael Waltrip did just that. By this season, Robbie Gordon had become fed up with answering to any team owner above him, so he opened up his own team. He would run the 2005.
Man, I keep smelling something weird. And I smell, and every time I look, I smell my shirt. It smells. Doesn't smell anything. Nose it's because my nose is stuffy right now, and I need to get it clean.
Considering his track record at that point, it was a pretty risky spot to be in. So how did Robbie
Maybe I
do
should have
his
done
first
that
year
before I
as his
did
own
this
boss?
video.
Pretty awful. By September, he has only one top 10 and has failed to qualify for 4 races. He's sitting a dreadful 36th in points, but he has a pretty decent run going at New Hampshire. That is until, while under caution, Michael Waltrip hooks him into the wall and totals his car. Needless to say, Robbie Gordon is not happy.
About the 15 minutes in NASCAR, I hope you're listening. I will pay Michael Waltrip back.
Yep,
Robbie
that
vows
proves that
revenge
he's
against
mad.
Michael, but after many months of inaction, everyone has pretty much forgotten about it. The following July, the Cup Series returns to New Hampshire. In 2006, Waltrip had become the co-owner of his own racing team, and just like Robbie the year before, he was struggling. Late in the race, Michael finds himself lined up behind who else but Robbie Gordon. Everyone else may have forgotten what happened the year prior, but Robbie sure hasn't.
Oh, for a second there, I thought my computer just froze.
He's crashed back there, broken the radio.
Robbie Gordon didn't have many victories in his NASCAR career, but when he did win, he made sure to do it in a way that was unmistakably his. Drivers like Robbie are all but extinct in NASCAR today, but back in the day, it was common to see lots of drivers march to the beat of their own drum.
Chapter 3.
Hate seeing ads? Here's how to get rid of them.
God, man.
Do you know how much of the content you see on a daily basis are actually ads?
If you were looking for a driver to inspire excitement, then perhaps you'd find it in Mr. Excitement, Jimmy Spencer.
Jimmy
Spencer
Spencer.
would get into a litany of fights and altercations over the course of his career, but none was more heated than his feud with Kurt Busch. At the turn of the millennium, Kurt Busch was one of the fastest rising talents in the sport. In 2001, he was promoted to a full-time Cup ride at just the age of 22. In his rookie season as NASCAR's newest phenom, Kurt Busch got rocked. He finished 27th in points with 7 DNFs, and his biggest highlight of the year was being the last guy Dale Earnhardt ever flipped off. It's tough being a rookie at NASCAR's highest level, a lesson Kurt learned in the 2001 Phoenix race where he got turned by Jimmy Spencer in front of the entire field. Welcome to the big leagues, kid. At this point in time, Jimmy Spencer is in the opposite position of Kurt Busch. He's in the twilight of his career and his best days are long behind him. But in the 2002 Food City 500 at Bristol, Jimmy Spencer has the
Food City
opportunity to do
special.
something he hasn't done in nearly 8 years: win a Cup Series race. He's running second with just 60 laps to go and reeling in the leader. The only problem is that the driver running
Well, looks
first
like he's
is the same
supporting,
guy Jimmy Spencer
Target.
crashed just 5 months earlier. Of course, Kurt doesn't cut Jimmy any slack.
Oh, he hit him. Bush got under him and muscled Jimmy Spencer. You don't see that often. Now, Kurt Busch is a first-time Winston Cup winner at Bristol.
On this day, youth prevails over experience. After the race, however, Spencer ominously warns that the young driver still has much to learn.
There's a lot of things you can and can't do, and one thing you can't do is just beat and bang with people. And some guys have to learn. They just have to learn the hard way.
5 months later at Indianapolis, Spencer punted Busch at over 180 miles per hour.
He just booted him out of the way.
Kurt is absolutely livid and trashes Spencer in the post-track interview.
We spun and that put us in a bad position. Back there with the decrepit old has-beens, I guess.
The feud continues to escalate until it reaches a boiling point in the next year's race at Michigan. Kurt swerves into
Michigan.
Spencer trying to cut down one of his tires. After the race, Spencer reportedly marched over to Kurt's car and punched him in the face.
Jimmy got out of the
Jeez.
car, approached Kurt Busch, and actually punched Kurt Busch.
Kurt left with a bloody nose and a chipped tooth, prompting NASCAR
Aw,
to suspend
dang.
Jimmy Spencer for the next race. Now, at this point, it's important to recall that Jimmy Spencer has thus far demolished 2 of Kurt's race cars and his face, and the fans love him for it. The next race is littered with free Jimmy Spencer signs, and Mr. Excitement is arguably the most popular he's ever been. Sometimes a NASCAR feud represents more than just a simple disagreement between drivers. Kurt Busch and Jimmy Spencer symbolized a clash of generations in a changing sport. In the eyes of many fans at the time, Kurt Busch embodied a new wave of prima donna drivers who lacked the struggle and grit of seasoned veterans
What the
like
heck,
Jimmy Spencer.
trolls?
I mean, what happened last week was an assault after the race, and what had happened leading up to that in the past was I've got 2 wrecked race cars out of it, and I don't respect Jimmy Spencer.
Back in the day, drivers would settle disputes among themselves without any interference from the sanctioning body. Many felt that NASCAR was babying down the sport to conform to a more mainstream image. Too bad for them, NASCAR was entering a new age, whether they were ready or not. Just 1 year afterwards, Kurt Busch would sit atop the sport as champion. Not long after that, Jimmy Spencer would retire and find a new home on the Speed Channel. While Kurt got the best of him in their time as competitors, Jimmy Spencer always finds a way to have the last laugh.
Got a sweaty eye.
Kurt Busch Radio.
I'm sweaty around my eyes. Jeez.
Starting off as polar opposite
That was a
rivals,
good one.
Kurt Busch and Jimmy Spencer didn't end up being so different after all. NASCAR is always changing. Cry as you might, you can't stop the future.
Boy, Kurt Busch and that 2 got such a run through the middle of 3 and 4. Here comes his brother Kyle to the inside. And almost wrecked him. I told you. There he goes. I told you.
Whoa.
One of Kurt Busch's many career rivalries was a sibling rivalry with his brother Kyle. If Kurt was a can't-miss talent, the younger Busch brother was a generational prodigy. While it took Kurt until age 23 to win in the Cup Series, Kyle did it at just 20, in his rookie season. Currently, he's in the conversation with Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson as one of the greatest drivers of NASCAR's current era. In 2007, all 3 of these drivers raced on the same team, Hendrick Motorsports. Unfortunately,
Oh, wow,
such
that's their
great
team name or
masters of
something?
talent don't tend to stick around for very long. And come the middle of the season, Kyle Busch wants out at Hendrick. Just like his brother, Kyle Busch had the tendency to lose his temper and had reportedly worn out his welcome with team owner Rick Hendrick. Despite his skirmish with Kurt in the All-Star race, Kyle Busch's greatest rival wouldn't come from his brother. It would come from his replacement.
Some of these things are interesting. That's a lot of revenge.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s race team was on a downward spiral, and he was about to become the biggest free agent in all of NASCAR. As the sport's most popular star, Dale Jr. would provide an immediate boon to any team that signed him.
Is that an old
The first
game
team
from
to
back
approach
then?
Jr. was Rick Hendrick. Beyond the appeal of joining NASCAR's most successful team, Jr. bonded with Rick Hendrick on a very personal level. Both had suffered tragic losses of family members earlier in the decade. With all that considered, Earnhardt and Hendrick were a match that seemed destined to happen. It's the 2007 Samsung 500 at Texas. On lap 252, Tony Stewart spins and Kyle Busch rear-ends Jr. in the scramble. Kyle thinks his car is totaled and retires from the race. Unbeknownst to him, however, his pit crew repairs the car and wants to send it back on track to pick up some extra points.
What are they doing? Trying to hit it or fix it?
The team scurries to find a replacement driver just as Dale Jr. is
One of those
commercials.
commercials.
Long story short, Dale Jr. ended up finishing the race in Kyle Busch's car that day.
And so today, it is with great honor to introduce my new boss for 2008, Mr. Rick Hendrick.
Was it a bizarre coincidence, or perhaps a covert audition for his next ride? We may never know all the answers, but one thing's for sure, it wouldn't be the last incident involving Dale Jr. and Kyle Busch that season.
Kansas?
6 months later, Kyle Busch is in a fierce battle for the point lead heading into Kansas, while Jr. is out of championship contention. By this point, it's well known that Earnhardt will be replacing Kyle Busch at the end of the season, but Kyle is still trying to make the most of his lame duck run by going out with a bang. Just 30 laps in, however, Jr. runs over Kyle Busch in the backstretch and takes him out of the race. After it was over, Jr. apologized and said it was an accident, but Kyle Busch would not so easily forget the driver who cost him his first shot at the championship.
I'm sure these guys that he's going to be working with next year don't really appreciate this because they've got a championship they can win this year and he doesn't.
Jeez.
It's the spring of 2008, and Dale Jr. wants badly to win for his new team. He is currently in the midst of a 70-race winless streak. Meanwhile, Kyle Busch is riding high in his new Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota, winning 2 of the first 9 races on the season. In the final laps at Richmond, Dale Jr. is just a few miles from victory. Kyle Busch, however, has other plans.
I believe he's got him this time. Oh, he turned it! No! He turned it! No!
You know what, Daryl? I saw the wheels on the 18 car turn to the right just ever so slightly.
One could say that the end of this race profoundly shaped the next few years in NASCAR. Kyle Busch finished 2008 with 8 victories and was instantly rocketed to public enemy #1 in the sport.
A lot of people hated it. I guess those are the ones with 88s tattooed on their arm.
For Dale Jr., the incident would mark the beginning of the worst stretch of his career. After 2008, Jr. would not see victory lane for the next 3 seasons. In some cases, revenge can end up having far more influence than just a petty comeuppance. It can go on to define a driver's legacy. This event cemented Kyle Busch as a dominant villain and Dale Jr. as a lovable underdog who could never seem to catch a break. 2 perceptions that neither driver could.
Sorry I'm not talking that much, is it that some of these things, they're interesting and I want to stay quiet.
Well, the next time they went to Richmond, history repeated itself.
I want to listen to them.
Revenge in NASCAR can greatly influence how we perceive other drivers, but very rarely does.
Alright, I'm going to stop it right there. This is going to be part 1. I am going to record again. This one has been interesting. all those guys have like tempers right there. I like the one where they were throwing their helmets at the other guy's car. Oh wow. I hope you guys liked this video. I'm sorry if I wasn't talking that much. It's just that I'm usually trying to think right here. It's just that I'm not into NASCAR that much. It's just that I'm trying to listen and some of these things I never heard of because I never watched NASCAR. The only thing I always used to was a sport. It was wrestling. I think it was just only wrestling. So hope you guys like this video. If you guys want me to do more reaction videos, I'm going to record again. This is going to be part 1. The other one's going to be part 2. So hope you guys like this video. If you guys want to see more, if you subscribe if you guys want to see more, like this video for just like the video and leave a notification, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.